Okay. Okay, yeah, I see you just entered the meeting room. Let me admit you.
Hey.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello.
Nice to see you, Ma.
Yes, after so long.
Yes, too.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you.
All right, let's go in. Good afternoon, good morning, afternoon, evening, everyone. Welcome to One Book a Week with Elsie, our book space online where we talk all things books, reading, stories, African stories, and everything in between. Today we have a very interesting person with us here. Interesting because this is somebody who, from what I know, has swung from one end of the career spectrum to another. And when you talk about being, when you talk about being multi-talented, I think my guest today fits that phrase very well. She's multi-talented. I'll let her tell us a little bit more about herself, but I know she's a banker, she's a designer, she designs clothes, she designs shoes, she sings, she does podcasts. And then, of course, she writes. She's written a very interesting book, which I've had the privilege of reading. So today, without wasting your time, let us meet Mrs. Boluwatiwi Ayo-Opaleke. Please, if I got your name wrong, you correct me.
Oh, no, not at all. Very rarely. People usually get it wrong, but you got it right.
Okay.
Boluwatiwi Ayo-Opaleke. Yes, pronunciation
All right.
and all. You got everything right. It's a pleasure to be here, Ma. Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
So yeah,
please put on your video so we can see your beautiful face.
Oh, do you know, I thought that was on. Oh my goodness, my bad.
It was on and then it went off.
Okay.
Yeah, it's fine. Technology has us all in all kinds of places. So it's fine. You're very welcome.
My, okay. Thank you. All right. So yeah. Yeah, I am Boluwatiwi Ayo-Opaleke. I help people. Okay, so let me start from the very beginning. You know, she said that I am a blogger, podcast. I run a podcast, and that I work in a bank. So I used to work in a bank. I left the banking industry years ago. So but you know, I worked on varying desks in the banking industry. So and that enabled me to have some kind of a wide range of experiences. Okay, so literally what I'm about right now is that I help people to articulate their thoughts. Okay, so a number of people have a lot of things to say, but do not usually know how to say it. So I usually sit down and gist with them, and in actions with them, I'm able to get a feel of the mood, the tone, you know, exactly what it is they're trying to say, and help them articulate that. So I'm a writer's writer.
Wow.
You get what I mean? So I write journaling. My writing started as journaling. You know, back in the day when we used to read Lady Bird books and Bumblebee, if I remember very well, you know, that piqued my interest. And so anytime I read a book, I would go back and take a book of mine and then journal in it, you know, write what I learned in the book. So that was how my journey to blogging actually started. Yeah, so I'll just share my thoughts, and then in a short while I started to develop stories. Very thoughts, not lounge, what have a conversation with myself. So I'm, you know, I'm writing, I'm saying, so what you did today, like talking to myself as if I'm out of my body. So that was how I started to journal. And so from journaling, I graduated into proper writing. And then, you know, my husband was like, why don't you have a blog? Because at first my thoughts were just for myself and maybe my family. So I don't know why I had this morbid feeling at one time in my life that I was not going to be around for a long time. Yeah. And so because of that feeling, I thought, you know what? I don't know why, but because of that feeling, I said to myself, okay, so the best thing I can do is my thoughts, so that this person that I am will be someone that will get to meet, even if they don't meet me in person, that they will get to know who their mom was. And so that was actually what made me go into blogging, so that my thoughts are out there on the net. It's kind of like you know, people need to learn lessons from my own life. You know, we're all stories, right, being told and unfolded.
Exactly.
So I think it's important that other people get to learn, you know, the stories from my life. Yeah. And so I thought, okay, you know what, let me tell my stories, and then not just tell my stories, but bring out points, lesson points that I have acquired over time from these stories, and perhaps
I think the internet is a bit unstable.
You know, so that was what, you know, led me into blogging. And of course, podcasting was natural. I always say that I think I write better than I talk. So for a long time, I've been camera shy. Interestingly enough, I've done a lot of TV. You know, as a teenager, I was into a youth-based, you know, NGO. I was part of a youth-based NGO. So that meant that I was on TV for a while, MITV and the rest. But it's still not my strong point. I'd rather anytime, any day, just be writing, you know, and speaking rather than being in front of.
Yeah, that's me. That's me.
So literally, I'm like about positive change, you know, like positive behavioral change, leadership, and every expression of mine has that central theme of positive change and adaptive leadership, one way or another.
Excellent.
You're going to say something. I think it's lagging.
Very interesting. Very interesting. You know, incidentally, I started journaling as a way of also putting my thoughts down or talking to myself. When I was in primary school and the early years of secondary school, I was very shy. So I had a diary that I used to talk to. So I used to write down my thoughts. And when I started blogging for like 2 whole years, I didn't share my blog at all. So I would blog, it would be there, but nobody knew what the blog was about. So I completely understand. I completely understand where you're coming from. Yeah. So, but how long have you been writing?
Okay, so I still don't use the word professionally because I've not earned that much money from blogging. Maybe when I begin to earn, like say $10,000, I might say, okay, it's professional. So
okay, you're muted. You need to unmute yourself. Yeah. Unmute. You're still muted. Okay, I think Bolu went off for a bit there. I mean, technology once in a while has us stumped with all kinds of things. So she was telling us about her writing journey. Okay, she's back.
Sorry, I had a call interrupt me.
Yeah, I know. Those things, they happen.
Interestingly, told me. Sorry.
Yes, people keep calling. It's fine. All right, yeah, let's go on. You were saying when you start earning $10,000, then you consider yourself.
You know, that I'm earning, you know, professionally. So I started writing, you know, so if journaling is writing, then I started writing since I was about 7, 8. Yeah, thereabouts. But actually putting my thoughts down. So I wrote a book when I was more recently, let's say in the last 6 more in that space now. Because I remember even while I was working, interestingly enough, people would write letters and then, you know, want me to go through their letters for them to edit, not just for grammatical error, but for syntax, for fluidity, you know, and all of that, for structure. People would always bring their letters or whatever emails that they had to send to me to kind of like be the third eye You know, so I've always just had that thing for, I think, putting things together in a way that makes sense and it's fluid, so that you're taking you on a journey literally when you're reading.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay, so you wrote a book recently. I've read the book. Very interesting, by the way.
Thank you.
I want you to tell us about that. What led to that?
Okay. What led to it? Okay, so since we're spilling, I'm going to spill. Okay, so the truth is this. There's a book that I'm writing, okay, that I've not been able to finish. I think you know how it is when you're like self-critical.
Yes.
So I look at the book every now and again, and I tell myself it's not done yet. There's a lot more to do. I have to scrap that and replace it with this. And so because I had a plan for when I was going to publish that book, and that time had come and gone, and I've still not done the publishing. So I said to myself, you know what? Why not take out a chapter from the book and make it a mini ebook, okay, and then give that to people so people can feel like have a pulse of who you are and how you write. Again, I've been writing across social media platforms, channels, and writing for people, you know, but I just felt that a book gives some level of seriousness to your craft, okay? So they'll take you more seriously as a writer. Okay, so because of that, I thought, you know what, take a book, make it a mini book. So that's what I did with. So the title of the book is The Art of Different.
Art of Being Different.
The Art of Different.
Yeah, The Art of
Different. Yeah, you know, so different, you know. So, you know, even when I gave it to someone to just take a look at, the person said the same thing you just said, now the art of being different, because that's what people interpret it as. And I'm like, yeah, being different makes it seem as if it's a doing word, like it's a verb. So different in the sense that it's not about being a verb, it's not about your fine, it will still accumulate into your actions, but it's about who you are. Different as a noun, you know, as a person. So that's why I titled it The Art of Different. That, you know what, we are all truly intrinsically different. So from our DNA, which is cliche, it's cliche to say we are different, we are unique, but there's a likelihood for us to think that we're all the same because we all bleed red, you know, we all look alike one way or another, we have brown eyes, we have characteristics that define us that appear to be, you know, like, so there's a tendency for you to so in a sense we are, but in another sense, what the book is trying to address is that intrinsically we're very different, and our experiences, no matter how, so we are all born into the same family, have siblings, right? Born by the same parents, birthed by the same parents, sorry, and yet our experiences are different. Not so much as the experiences outside of the house. So experiences outside of the house will be different, of course, because I went to one school and they went to another school. I'm not even talking about those experiences. I'm saying in the experiences of that we have, that we share, when called to interpret those experiences or to relay or narrate those experiences, we will not ever use the same terms.
Exactly.
We will not use the same language, same vocabulary. So that means that our difference colors, you know, colors our perspective to things. And, you know, it's just like your eyes, like a lens. So if you have blue lens, there's a likelihood that it will be colored or tinted, you know. So all of those, our personal self, our inner self, serves as biases or you know, that viewpoints that we're just different, and that's just the truth. So twins, for instance, that have born the same day, you know, everything together. Again, I'm not talking about experiences shared outside, but even when they go through the same experience, so they're eating the same food, their interpretation of that meal time will be different. You know, so I wanted people to be open to the intrinsic differences, that we are, and perhaps that will help us to, because there's no point noticing those things or shedding light on that thing, and then for what use is it, right? But for us to help us to appreciate who we are first as individuals, and then begin to extend that same kindness to other people as well. You know, to say that it's okay to be this. You know, again, it is not an excuse for misbehaving, you know, or to say that's the way I am, so take me the way I am. It is not, it doesn't take away personal agency or personal responsibility, but just to say that, you know what, we're different people. So.
Beautiful. So it's kind of accepting that it's okay to be different. And whether you even accept it or not, you are different. I am different. That's it. You know, interesting you talked about twins. I have sister-in-laws that are identical twins. And I recall that back in the day, I never used to be able to tell them apart, but they are so different. Even though they look exactly the same, they sound the same, everything, but they are so different. They have different personalities. They have different, and like you said, growing up in the same house, the same, for instance, daddy knocks and comes in, we're all sitting in the living room. The reactions are different. The impressions are different. It's yeah, fantastic, fantastic. And I hope you get to read that book. I'm going to leave where you can get the book in the comment section. Now, I want to say something about, this book is an extract from a bigger book. And I totally understand that. I've done that myself. I did that with my book, Warri Chronicles. It's an extract from my big memoir. I was like, look, you know what, let's just take this part and put it out there. But you know, there's also something I've noticed with creative people. We tend to be our biggest critics. So you're doing something and you're like, oh no, this thing is not good enough. It's not ready, especially with books. So sometimes you want to, sometimes I'm asking, look, where's the balance between being perfect, putting a good work out there, and then just using perfection for as an excuse for procrastination, so you never get the work out there. And I sometimes wonder how many books are undone because the authors feel that they are not good enough, you know. So and that's me saying to you that please, can you do the bigger book and release it already? We love this one we've seen, we like it, we enjoy it, and we want the rest of the story. Is a fantastic book. Okay.
Thank you very much. I'm working on it.
Yeah. Okay. We're looking forward to it. We'll be here to announce it when it's ready. Let me ask you, what has been your biggest challenge as a creative person, but more specifically as a writer? What has been your biggest challenge?
I think my biggest challenge, okay, so I will do challenge within myself and the challenge without, so internally and externally. So my internal challenge, again, is what you just said, you know, telling yourself the truth. You know, so at certain times when you know that what you're doing is just being outrightly lazy, you're procrastinating, or you're telling yourself, no, it's truly not ready yet, or that you're trying to be this perfect person and you know within you that you aren't. So who are you fooling anyway? You know, so that internal war is constant, very, very constant. Because it's funny, because I mean, when it comes to book publishing, that's when those perfect, you know, flies and butterflies come around. But when you're writing your blog or writing, you know, on social media, I mean,
you don't feel that.
You don't feel that touchlight or that, that pressure to be perfect, right? So why is it that just the same stories anyway? You're still the same person. So you're the constant. You're the one telling your story. However you tell your side of things, I think it's about letting people appreciate the level of detail and work that actually goes into writing, such that they can begin to appreciate what payments I should have for that work. I don't know if that makes sense. So even if it's not writing, literally as a creative generally now, so I'm sitting with you and I'm talking with you, and I'm listening to the things you are saying, but much more than that, I'm listening to the things that you are not saying. And all of that, what I put down, the details that will come forth from whatever, you know, written document I give to you. And so you look at that document, you're like, yeah, that's exactly what I had in mind, you know. And so you do know that perhaps you did not even say some things to me, you did not tell me some things, and yet here I am, well-articulated documents, and then you find it hard to appreciate the detail. So on one hand, you appreciate it, but on the second hand, you don't appreciate the process that went into it.
Exactly. Oh, you're muted. You're muted. You're muted. You need to unmute.
I don't know what's going to happen. Maybe I should get my thoughts. Oh my goodness. Okay, so sorry for that. That call is persistent. And I sent, you know, an SMS is the first thing, but so I think that's what it's.
So it's I think Okay. So Bolu has this call that keeps interrupting, but she's back.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I understand.
Okay.
All right.
Okay,
So
yeah.
I get that, and actually that's sometimes in fact with most writers that's a challenge I've noticed with most people. So we're at a point, especially on the African continent, where we're yet to appreciate the value of writing, the value of words. And incidentally, it's made worse by social media, because anyone can write on Facebook, anyone can write on Instagram. And like I keep saying, your friends will always click, they will like what you write. So, I mean, it's like you write rubbish, you write pigeon, whatever. But it's difficult for people to actually appreciate the process that goes into bringing out a creative work, whether it's a podcast or a blog, or in this case, a book. I frequently liken book publishing, having a book, to having a baby. Okay, so you see a pregnant woman, and then you see a child, but a lot has gone into that woman carrying that child until the day you see the child, until the day you come for the naming ceremony. So you're seeing the child and you're saying, oh, fine baby, but are you even thinking of everything she went through in carrying that child? So yes, I totally understand. So one more question. I think we have just two questions, and then I'll let you go. How do you combine, how are you able to combine the different aspects of you, of Bolu the designer, Bolu the podcaster, Bolu the blogger, Bolu the mom, Bolu the wife? How are you able to put all together?
I said, that the central theme for me is positive change.
Yes.
And then adaptive leadership. So what that just simply means, those big words, is just that it's about people getting better every day. So somebody refers to me, one of my staff, is always calling me mommy. I have a friend, she's older than me, but she calls me mother hen. And then one of my staff calls me mommy. Not because, not so much as the age, but because I'm always like doting on him. I'm like making sure that he did this right. There was one incident that occurred where he was like, I did ask him to do something, he didn't do it quite well, and we're like, Mommy, let's just manage it like that. They won't know. I'm like, okay. So that was, I never passed an opportunity to teach. To coach. So I was like, Oga, yeah, let me an opportunity. Come sit down. You don't do that, whether the person knows or not. Your heart should, So I started schooling him on how that you should have a set of values that drive you, and that whether anybody notices it or not, you're your biggest judge. So you should judge yourself right.
Yes.
So that you can present. So every interaction I have, even with the market people, so from the basics, the little things like greeting them, the way I would greet them, and tell, ask them if they told me their child's name, for instance, I will write the name on my phone with that person's number. So that when next I'm going to the market, I'm like, aha. And how is Chinedu? And she's so happy. Oh, you remember Chinedu? So every interaction of mine, I want to ensure that I leave it better, positive. It's also like a challenge to the person I'm interacting with to say you can always be better. So when you met me 5 years ago, and then you meet me 5 years afterwards, there's something better about my interaction with you. And so that for me, yes, tells you that we're on a journey. So self-awareness, we're on a journey. Make sure that you're getting better. Make sure that you're not staying in one place. So I think for me, that's the common thread. So what I'm with my children today, my child said she needed an advice from me. I'm like, advice like how? What if I had to be telling me about how, she wanted me to help her choose between boiled eggs and fried eggs, and I was like, I can see. That was the advice that you needed. But it just tells you that your posture to many people is that solution provider, right?
Yeah,
so even if it's in the subtle, inconsequential things, you just come across a person that to wants to bounce them off me. Lawyer friend, she's a lawyer, and yet she still makes me go through her manuscript each time she has to present something publicly. I'm like, Auntie, I mean, I dare not say that I understand English half as much as you do, but she just feels comfortable. She says that that my heart, that she feels heart in the things I write. So she doesn't want to just be speaking English. She wants the element of heart to be inside what she's doing, you know. So I think that for me marries all of my different roles. So I'm about heart, I'm about positive change, I'm about leadership, making you take the wrongs yourself and say, you know what, I can do this myself because Bolu is in my life. I have somebody that will be pushing me, you know, cheering me on, rooting for me. So I think that's the posture that I take in all of those relationships.
Oh, fantastic, fantastic. I should employ you as my coach. All right. One more question and then I can let you go. Do you have a writing routine? Do you have a writing routine?
Truthfully, not anymore. I used to have that discipline to have a routine. I'm a night person, so when everybody has gone, I want to play music, you know, instrumentals, sentimentals, classicals. I love music. I sing, by the way, you know, so that aspect of me helps me to write better. So, but in recent times, let's say since Corona, you know, everybody being home, I'm not able to stick to that. So most times I'm very tired at those times that I should be writing. So what happens is that whenever I have a thought come to my mind, I just quickly put it down on my phone notes, you know, notepad, so I don't lose that trail. If I know that I will lose the trail, I'll quickly do a voice note, you know, and say what it is I want so that I won't lose it. So then whenever I find a me time, I will quickly, you know, utilize it and make sure that I'm putting something down at those times. So not anymore, but I used to have a routine, yes.
Okay. Well, I hope you get back to it. I hope you get back to having a routine, because that's the discipline I find that every writer needs.
Discipline, sure.
Every writer needs that discipline of writing. But you know how it is. It's writing now, especially when you're good at it. I can always get back to it, but please go back to
it. Sure.
Yeah, because there are so many books. I will. There are so many books in you waiting to be born, and we are waiting to. So thank you so much. Thank you so much, Bolu. It's been such a pleasure chatting with you.
Thank you.
And I'll be calling you back again and again. And I'm looking for those books. I'm waiting for those books.
Pleasure, totally. All right.
So you let us know where we can get the Art of Difference. Okay, let us. And when I read that book, I don't know why you released it for free, and I don't know why you did that.
Yes, I did do it because, like I said, I felt like, I don't know, you want to talk about self-judging. So I judged myself that this book is a chapter in a book. I did not think that.
Okay,
not so much as it's worth.
Yes.
But because of maybe the volume of it, something like that. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Chapter or not, we're going to put it out there. So we're going to be putting the description where you can get that book in our comments, and please look out for it. Okay. Bolu is an awesome person. She's totally creative, and if you would like Bolu to coach you or to help you to put your thoughts together, to help you with your writing, anything, hit me up, and definitely you'll be able to reach her. So thank you very much. I hope you have had a good time.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bolu, thank you. Till the next time I see you again, which I hope will be very soon. Here's me saying bye-bye. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye, Ma. Bye-bye.
God bless you. God bless you.
God bless you.